In an act of acute self-harm, Zelensky has just stormed out of the White House. There has been a press conference that's been cancelled. There will be no signing of any peace deal that Trump is trying to negotiate kind of in the middle of Ukraine and Russia. There's a few really important points that I wanted to make, and you'll forgive me if I'm marginally laughing at the idea of Zelensky being strapped into the booster seat in the back of his, I don't know, Escalade that he's being driven off in. But this is a complete disaster for Ukraine. If you take a look in slower time at the face of the Ukrainian ambassador, she's got her head in her hands because Zelensky could not have done a worse job of this if he tried. So let's go through a few things. Number one is that you're going to think differently about this depending on whether you're from Europe or from America. And specifically, if you've bought into the lies about Ukraine, about Zelensky, about, oh, this brave guy in his camouflage gear, you're going to think completely differently to me. I partly pity you, but also I'm not here for agreement. And agreement was never what I'm asked with any of the things that I say. From an American perspective, which I think I'm much more closer to, or maybe I'm just closer to the truth of the thing, this is utterly beyond ridiculous for Zelensky to have behaved this way. His one big card, his one big power move was playing along with Trump to have America on his side to get peacekeeping boots on the ground from Europe, which Trump would also have coordinated. And he would have been seen as the guy that helped to end the war and brought about peace for Ukraine. Instead, he has rocked up at the White House with an attitude. Firstly, showing disrespect. Disrespect in the way that he dresses. I have no idea why he's dressed as a puppeteer from Britain's Got Talent, but apparently that's what he's done. I mean, if it goes dark and you need someone to pretend to be a shadow or to disappear into a corner as a kind of, I don't know, half person because he's only 4'3", he's dressed brilliantly. But why wouldn't you dress appropriately if you're supposed to be a leader? He's not a leader, he's an actor. He's fully paid up as an actor and he's now worth $1 billion. That's an aside. Disrespect in his attitude and the way he sits with his arms folded. Doesn't matter who you're speaking to, I wouldn't fold my arms, not in an argument with an enemy. That is not a method or a means of having a successful communication with anyone. He's disrespected Donald J. Trump because what the president of America is trying to do is negotiate a peace deal. He might not like it. He might think it's his turn to perform for the cameras. I'm a bit of a tit as well. If there was cameras there, a bunch full of press, maybe I'd start performing because I'm an arse. But I'm not pretending to be leader of Great Britain, am I? He's there performing as if he's being clever, as if he's still performing for the leaders that have been pleasuring him. Trudeau, Macron, blooming Boris Johnson and all the rest of it. This is an American audience, and you don't mess around with an American audience that loves their president. And the most important thing, this is the bit that people will miss, is it's the office of the United States of America, the office of President of the United States of America. It's the Oval Office, and that's the point Trump is making clearly here. It's not about Trump. So people can bang on about, oh, Trump's a bully, oh, J.D. Vance is a bully. That's not the point. It's the Oval Office. And it doesn't matter who you are, what your views are, where you come from, what you belong to, what colour you are, nothing. That's the Oval Office, and you should have respect for the office of the President of the United States of America. He's had none of these things. And there's a final point I want to make very briefly because I'm going to try and get this in before a 5-minute mark. The thing about a lie is that if you've been gullible, if you've fallen for the lie, you need to stay within the lie. Otherwise you feel like you're stupid. You feel like you've been made a fool of. It's how lockdowns worked and vaccines worked. Even now with what we know and what's coming out every single day, those who fell for the lie don't want to leave the lie because to leave the lie means they have to face the reality that they were idiots. And I think that's fine because I've been an idiot more times in my life than anyone else. And it's the same with Ukraine. Imagine you've flown the Ukraine flag. Imagine you had a Ukrainian refugee into your home as a pet. You know, maybe you were a better person because you were stood with Ukraine, because Ukraine was a fight for democracy. You don't want to leave that lie, because to leave it, you realise that Zelensky is an actor and a billionaire. He's cancelled elections, so he can hardly be kind of fighting for democracy now, can he? He's conscripting young boys to go and fight on the front line for a war that he's not part of. He did a Vogue photo shoot whilst he's doing that same thing. And the interest of his country is served by having a peace deal that Trump is happy to broker and negotiate. And instead, he's just gone, flounced around like a small little actor, which he is, and made an idiot of himself and completely devastated Ukraine in the process. So if you need to move to that reality, that's a very, very long way from your position when you're standing holding on to the lie. That, my friends, is what's just gone down. And I will still be laughing at the fact Zelensky is currently being strapped into his booster seat in the back of an Escalade. Don't like what I've had to say? It was your choice to listen, your choice to watch, your choice to leave a comment.